Uvluluatak uvunga Uksrunna Nyupengrunga. Hello, good day everyone. My name is Uksrunna or Sunny, and I am Inupiaq. Water is important to me because I am Inupiaq and we live in the Arctic Circle. We've been living there for thousands of years, and because of climate change over the past century, our climate change has negatively impacted our hometown, and we will be underwater within the next century. The ancestral lands that we have been living on for thousands of years will be underwater, and a huge loss of culture could result because of actions that come down from over here.
I've actually spent a lot of time in the Arctic.
Oh really? Awesome.
Talk about that afterwards.
Oh awesome.
Right, so I guess first off, just tell me, what is Line 3?
Okay.
And just their whole history here.
Gotcha.
In Minnesota, because this isn't anything new. They've been wreaking havoc here for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. So Line 3 is a replacement pipeline. There's already a Line 3 in the ground. It was built in 1960, and it is made out of material that has been corroding and falling apart for decades now, and instead of replacing that pipeline or fixing it, they have decided to abandon it completely in the ground and not clean up any of their mess, and instead decided to go through all of these rivers, 22 river crossings affecting over 800 bodies of water, and negatively impacting the wild rice in this area, along with thousands of species and other relatives that live in this area, alive or not alive. Everything will be impacted, and it will be reflected in how all of our water all across the world will be.
And being at the top of Turtle Island here, this isn't just something that's localized to Minnesota. Everyone downstream is going to be affected.
Yes,
something
definitely.
Like 100 million people get
yes, definitely. Water. Yeah, and the Mississippi River is responsible for 80% of our farm exports. So this will also negatively impact our economy, which is not a huge motivating factor of this movement, but it is something that hopefully corporations will realize and the government will realize that this is not just an indigenous issue, this is not just a climate issue, we're not just a bunch of hippies living in the middle of the forest, fighting for something that isn't worth fighting for. This is something that we are fighting for everyone. We are ancestors today, and our actions today impact the people in our future, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. We have to ensure that we have an earth to live on.
And so tell me how people have been standing up in the resistance here in Minnesota, and specifically, what you've been a part of.
Oh yeah, definitely. So there are, I believe, 6 camps currently in operation across northern Minnesota and Minnesota in general. We've had hundreds to maybe over 1,000 water protectors come through to help protect our water. And I personally have been to a lot of the camps. I've been involved in a lot of direct action and planning. And I've made so many connections and have made so many beautiful relationships that are irreplaceable at this point. Finding amazing people to fight along with in this resistance and fight, it's like family over here.
So tell me about the direct action that I was at.
Oh, is that the one just recently at Red Lake?
Yeah, when
okay.
we all walked out.
Yeah, definitely.
And you had the megaphone.
Yeah, yeah. Time is fake. I don't remember when that action was. It was probably a couple of days ago. We had an action in Red Lake Treaty Camp where we progressed and kind of tried to talk to the police, and we were in peaceful ceremony protesting against this pipeline and ensuring that our comrades were able to safely lock down to pipeline and stop construction for that day. And this is something that has happened before. Lots of lockdowns have happened before, and it is a very traumatizing experience to go through, but having that family and that community to come home to afterwards is something that is irreplaceable. And yeah.
Yeah, because it's not all just going and yelling at the cops.
Yeah.
You build a family when you're out there.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the media that gets a lot of popular attention is, of course, the stuff that is, a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more attention catching, which is to be expected because humans are simple like that. But I think that what isn't seen behind the scenes is the sense of community. Like, we have people always willing to help clean up camp, people always willing to do dishes. Like, it's more than just, fighting against this multi-billionaire or multi-billion-dollar company. It's forming a revolution and assisting each other through mutual aid and ensuring that we have a future to fight for and creating relationships that will help us build upon in the future revolutions as well.
So you mentioned the media. There's like barely a peep about this.
Yeah, definitely.
Press. So why
Yeah.
is that?
There's a lot that I could say, conspiracy theory wise, but Line 3, Enbridge, the oil that comes out of this pipeline is not for American consumption. It is refined into what is called Petcoke, which sounds just gross to say by itself. But Petcoke is basically just a substitution for charcoal or just coal in general. And it's used in huge factories, and for every 1 gallon of tar sands crude oil that is pumped out of this pipeline, 6 gallons of fresh water are used to manufacture it, pump it out, and is also ruined because of the oil coming out of this pipeline. And because China is the largest consumer of Petcoke, would not be surprised if there is a reason why we are silenced so constantly on social media and in media in general. News outlets are not willing to talk about this. I personally have a fairly large social media following, and I have to be careful about what I say. If I say anything about Line 3, the video is immediately removed. I get banned from posting. I get banned from making any kind of videos or anything like that. It's very much, there's definitely something going on under the table that people are not willing to, really talk about.
And that's why we're here.
And that's why we're here, because they cannot silence us all.
We just have to work even harder to beat all the algorithms.
Yep,
and everything.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Then simultaneously, the propaganda campaign that Enbridge is mounting is incredible.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how people have been brainwashed out here, basically?
Yeah, definitely.
And then how they've tried to intimidate you in the process.
Yeah, definitely. So Enbridge promised Minnesotans, they promised 75% of Minnesotans a job. Only 33% have gotten a job. And so they're breaking promises that they have made to the locals in this community. They're breaking promises that they have made to the Anishinaabe people that occupy or that have been living on this land for thousands of years. I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
The propaganda campaign.
Propaganda campaign.
And the intimidation.
Oh yes, definitely. And another factor of this that I think people are uncomfortable with talking about is the money that Enbridge is sending to the law enforcement in this area. A recent article said that $1.7 million has come from Enbridge into Minnesotan law enforcement. Even the sheriff of Aiken County, or it might have been Hubbard County, but a county sheriff in an email said that because of the funds coming from this pipeline, they would be able to buy assault rifles. And there is no reason for law enforcement to have assault rifles when they are confronting peaceful, unarmed protesters. And just in general, even if there is somebody that is violent, assault rifles meant to kill dozens of people with just a couple of rounds is not the way that law enforcement should be armed.
What about the local population?
Yes, so the local population, Enbridge, the state of Minnesota overtaxed Enbridge when they were first buying the land that the pipeline would be on. And as a result, Enbridge, or the state of Minnesota now owes Enbridge $13 million, which is coming out of the budget of small counties in the area, which will be seen in the way that schools operate, law enforcement operates, small businesses operate. It'll negatively impact the areas surrounding this pipeline, and that is something that people may not realize until it's too late.
And given that this isn't a traditional crude pipeline, they're going to be moving dilbit when there is an incident, if they build the pipeline, I should say. It'll be more like the Kalamazoo Line 6B spill with the tar sands, and they destroyed that river. It's just still, and you can't fish there, you can't swim there.
Yep.
And that's what this could look like on a larger level with the Great Lakes.
Yep, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, why are we being so cavalier with like a quarter of the world's fresh water?
Yeah, no kidding. I believe that because, it's no coincidence that huge companies like this decide to drill on lands surrounding huge indigenous populations. They think that because of colonization, we are so hurt that we will not have the energy to fight back. They underestimate our power. They underestimate the power of our allies. Although the indigenous population only makes up less than 2% of the United States population, we will not be silenced, and our allies that stand with us will not be silenced either.
All right, so what's it going to take to stop this pipeline? There's, say, 3 weeks of construction left, they say. So what do we have to do? What does the general public have to do? Like, what's the plan attack?
I really wish I had an answer to that. I wish that there was, one end-all be-all answer. And at this point in time, I think organizing in your hometown, we have made multiple calls to everyone across the country, across the world, to organize in their cities. You do not need to be in Minnesota to fight against this pipeline. You do not need to even be in this country to fight against this pipeline. There is space for everyone in the fight against Line 3. We ask that people organize at their universities, at their state capitals, at Enbridge offices. There are Enbridge offices across Canada and the United States. It is important to do your own research as to what organizing looks like in your own city. We just ask that people do not burden water protectors that are currently at the front lines with the task of organizing in other cities, just because our time here is so valuable. But yes, we really do ask that people take initiative and find their way to protest against this pipeline in ways that they are able to in their home. There is also a ResistBot. I forgot what the number is. I believe the code is PUCGZE, and you text that to 50409, which is a ResistBot that immediately signs a petition and sends a letter to your state representatives to tell that has a list of our commands for stopping Line 3 as well.
I don't have a whole lot of faith in the political process.
Yeah, me either, but we got to do what we got to do.
Every avenue possible. Right?
Exactly, yep.
I mean, it's just amazing to hear these, Democrats talk about climate change being a priority and then advocate for Line 3.
Yeah, definitely. And the system is built upon indigenous genocide and enslavement of Black people, as well as the oppression of other minority groups. We cannot expect this colonial government to abide by our commands in order to dismantle white supremacy. That is something that we have to take into our own hands. We have strength in numbers, and we will not find liberation under this colonial government, under these colonial systems.
All right, and I guess lastly, it's been a really tough decade for 100, 200 years, but especially the past year, 2 years has been pretty intense for people. And after the pandemic and after Standing Rock and the Black Lives Matter movement, everyone's really burned out. And, a lot of people I know are just lost hope. And, they ask, how do you advocate for hope? And I'm like, I don't know. You just kind of have to find it for yourself. But how do you personally stay hopeful? And how do you keep doing this work?
Yeah.
You have such an amazing positive attitude and energy.
Thank you. That's a really good question, and I think I don't have an answer for that yet. I really am depending a lot on my comrades that are here with me, and along with all of the support, the thousands of people that support us through social media. That's definitely something that keeps us going. Also coffee. I said earlier, right now I'm running on caffeine and spite. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for this opportunity.